Now is the time to take note of what the mainstream media are saying, to take note what the left-wing radical Democrats are saying. Now is the time to consider what your future might be. Coming to you via podcast somewhere deep in the depths of Southern Ontario, A Radio, always the truth and never politically correct.
You're listening to A Radio.
Thank you for joining us. You're listening to A Radio, and this is the Morning Moment. We are on Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 11:45 Eastern. Follow us on Spreaker.com and click on the like button. You can find us on most social media platforms such as iTunes, Spotify and iHeartRadio. Go to our website, aradio.wordpress.com, for details, where you'll find more content and details on our podcasts and more. I want you to think of these morning moments this week as connected, because they are. This will be the last one before the first and very possibly only debate between Bunker Biden and the President. Now, I make no apologies at all for describing Biden as such. The same here can be said in Canada for our illustrious leader. I think this piece that I'm going to play for you from Glenn Beck last week so aptly describes just the beginning of what the radical left-wing Democrat Party have planned. I don't think you can describe them any more as just the Democrat Party. They are the radical left-wing Democrat Party. We all know what happened in the last Senate hearing for the candidate for the Supreme Court of the United States. Just a little inside baseball. For those Canadians who might have been watching CTV News the other night, it's not the High Court, it's the Supreme Court. Anyway, back to my point. The radical left-wing Democrat Party have planned for the country is just the same game plan as the Supreme Court nominees. Here's that clip from Glenn Beck, who really explains where they're going.
To save the election for Joe Biden, because everybody knows that the Democrats and the press have been covering for these guys. If it keeps going downhill, they're going to only say these are white people. The protesters are doing the day, which is true. Mm-hmm. And then the white people come in, which is true. But they'll make it about the white people. And they will probably even go as far as saying Antifa has been infiltrated by white supremacists.
That's what we heard on ESPN yesterday from Max Kellerman.
Yeah. And that is going to be to be the word. They're going to make Antifa into white supremacists. And that's what we've been saying the whole time, that these guys are white and they're using the black community.
And they're
some truth to that.
And
they're opportunists, and
that's all they're doing.
They're
not entirely true, but it's
in part true.
Yeah.
You've got the guy in Denver last night that was out on the street yelling and screaming about the revolutionaries. This is insurrection. That's just an opportunist. It has nothing to do with Breonna Taylor.
Nothing.
It has nothing to do with Jacob Blake. It has
everything to do with Marxism.
Anybody.
Has everything to do with Marxism
and anarchy.
And anarchy. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's what those guys are about. Now, why would George Soros and big people on the left fund that? They don't want anarchy. How doesn't anybody make money in anarchy? They don't want that. They want the Great Reset. They want Agenda 2030.
After the anarchy.
Exactly right. Mm-hmm. They want to put the hammer down. And they're looking for something that will make people say, put the hammer down on these people. So they'll continue to fund them. But once the hammer comes down, you and I, as constitutionalists, we're not the only ones that are in trouble.
So you heard it there. Their game plan is simple. One, to turn your view on who's causing the anarchy, who's causing all the riots, who's causing all the looting, who's causing all the violence and disorder. Now, bear with me. If they can convince enough Americans in the short amount of time left that Donald Trump's supporters, under the guise of left-wing activists, are doing all that, even though we know it's not true, then that changes everything, doesn't it? And don't you think the mainstream media will promote that idea? You don't? Well, I have a clip to remind you of how effective their lies have been in the past. Let's just go back in time to the days of Harry Reid.
That was before he used the Senate floor to go after GOP mega donors, the Koch brothers, and accuse Mitt Romney of not paying his taxes with no evidence.
Let him prove that he has paid taxes, because he hasn't. No, I don't regret that at all. The Koch brothers, no one would help me. They were afraid the Koch brothers would go after them. So I did it on my own.
So no regrets about Mitt Romney, about the Koch brothers. Some people have even called it McCarthyite.
Well, they call it whatever they want. Romney didn't win, did he?
Reid is...
So you heard that piece. So what we're going to do is to hold back the continuing part on Bunker Biden, just for a few days, to reveal what the radical left-wing Democrat Party, and that's what they must be called from now on, have planned. And more importantly, who we think are involved. When you hear all these pieces and put them all together, I think you will come up with the same conclusion, that it's not President Trump. It's not President Trump who's radical and dangerous. Far from it, in fact. Far from it. It is, in fact, the radical left-wing Democrat Party. And that's my comment for today. However, please stay tuned this week for more. When we put the pieces together, it will shock you. You will only have a few days left to act. Don't waste them. You can find more at aradio.wordpress.com, where you can find links to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Gab, Parler, Spotify, and email. We are continuing to reach out to you, so please pass these links on to your friends. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. You can listen to all our morning moments at Spreaker.com/A-Radio. That's EHRADIO, a radio. And please click on the like button. Join us Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 11:45 Eastern, for our morning moment or tweak. And tell your friends, pass the word. We only tell the truth, not what the Canadian mainstream media want you to know. This time, more than any in history, we all need to trust but verify.